along with Caity Henniger, the 2008 fittest woman on the planet, and Tommy Marquez. I've probably spent the last minute refreshing my leaderboard to see what's going on because the sandbag event is finally over, and somehow it was even more exciting than it was in 2010.
Yeah, it really shook up the leaderboard a little bit, and I was surprised at how devastating it was. You saw some of these athletes kind of get done with their final red bag and just collapse over in a heap on top of the rest of their sandbags, just done, especially the earlier heats where it was pretty hot outside.
Yeah, I mean, I think we thought this was going to be a brutal event, but we saw some Games veterans just really struggle with this event, and it made for an amazing event, exciting, and here we are.
We'll get into it a little bit later, but it did mix up the leaderboard, to say the least. Obviously, you come here to the CrossFit Games to watch these amazing events, but if for some reason you didn't, there are a tremendous amount of activities you can do, and we call it the fan experience, and Kayla Banfield will be bringing it to you all week long.
Thanks, guys. I am down by the tennis stadium, which is one of the many places you'll see me this weekend. It's also where you can catch the individuals in their afternoon events. Right now, though, we've got the Fan Appreciation Night, which is basically an opportunity for the fans to come and meet their favourite athletes and have a good chat to them. Now, Mel, come over here. Tell me, who's your favourite athlete and why?
So I have two for the guys. Travis Williams, he's my boy, and he's repping the South region where I'm from. And Margot Alvarez for girls. She's genuinely an awesome person, and I just want to see her succeed.
I absolutely agree with you. Now, what are you looking forward to most this weekend?
Hanging out with my Blahniks family and having a good time watching the games, just having fun.
What more could we ask for? Hey, sounds like a great weekend. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kayla. On top of our normal coverage from the Day at the Games desk, we'll be coming live to you guys with some really unique and cool segments, including some of our favorite posts from social media. So we'll be highlighting some of the best from Twitter, from Facebook, and from even Instagram, some cool photos and stuff that we find special. Some stuff like maybe some unique perspectives on the competition. Here we see Rich taking on his leg of this team sprint relay. Some cool behind-the-scenes photos. Here we see some of the top women in the bus getting ready to go before the beach event that started this morning. And even some user-submitted stuff. Here we have a fan walking around the event this morning, got to meet 2010 champ Kristen Clever. All of that stuff submitted by you guys, and even some of the CrossFit Games and CrossFit handles. In order to get your posts up here, make sure you post on social media using the hashtag CrossFit Games, along with our own special Day at the Games hashtag, using hashtag DATG, and we'll highlight our favorite posts throughout the weekend here at the Day at the Games set.
If you are a CrossFitter or a CrossFit Games athlete on social media, there's a good chance Tommy Marquez is currently stalking you. Now, someone that I stalk on social media is Elijah Muhammad, and we actually followed him today at Hermosa Beach through his very first CrossFit Games event ever.
I'm up at 4 a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday, so I'm always a morning person ready to go. I don't know, man. It's just kind of like, let's get it done. The swim is going to be tough for me, and I know that. Just coming out of the water and completing it in a time cap is all I want. If I get through the time cap, I'll be overexcited. You know, as long as I come out of that water, I'm good.
I think a lot of people are going to neglect the fact that they need to get the system going before they hit the water. I think they're going to warm up in the swim. Like, it's such a long event, we need to get the heart rate up before we go. So we're going to get nice and sweaty before we go to the water.
You gotta love the support from the CrossFit community coming out there. I mean, just see everything, be a part of every event, every little second of it, so it's great. It's going to be a good day, man. Today's going to be a good day. Try not to complain and enjoy this experience, man.
There is no land element here, but there is an element of the unknown. We have a 500-yard swim, followed by a 2-mile paddle. These athletes are going to be on a paddleboard without the paddles in the prone position, and they're going to finish up with another 500-yard swim.
That is Easy Muhammad, who is a Games rookie.
Swim wasn't as bad. The paddleboard destroyed my shoulders, man. I was done. It was what I expected. Heading out there was really bad. Headed back wasn't as bad, but I was just tired by then. I did way better than what I thought on the swim. I just kept moving. Usually I got to stop a lot in the water and just doggy paddle. I made it all the way around swimming, so that's a huge plus. And got on that paddleboard, my shoulders were just on fire, man.
I never look at it as like I'm losing, really. I got here, I'm already winning, you know. In my kids' eyes, I'm winning.
Humbling experience, but really good. Knew it was gonna be tough for me, just being in the ocean, but event 1 is done, and we head on to event 2, man. Anything here is a good experience for me. This is my first time here. I just wanted to get this experience. The community is awesome. They're cheering me on. The athletes are rooting. I'm just having a blast, man.
And that is exactly why I'm personally a huge fan of Elijah Muhammad. Obviously, I mean, he has busted his butt to get here to the games. And the event 1, I'm sure it didn't go how he played it over in his head for years, but his attitude is positive and just contagious.
Well, it's never going to go. It's not always going to go as you planned, right?
Yeah,
you're never going to get the best finish. But you're either, for rookies, you know, they're always going to have that one event. And the thing is, how are you going to respond to that? And you hear him and his spirits are high, and he came back tonight and he showed he still wants the beer, and he shows he wants to he did very well in the sandbag event.
Yeah, he didn't just do well. He finished top 3 overall, which is fantastic for him. And it's not unusual to see some of these rookies kind of seesaw back and forth, especially at their first CrossFit Games. But I think it bodes well for him going forward that he's able to kind of bounce back and have that level of effort, because I think it's something we're going to see going forward with some barbell events like the snatch speed ladder and the clean and jerk corner at max. And I think Easy has an opportunity to take what could have been a disastrous finish and really make a nice rookie season for him at the CrossFit Games.
The sandbag event, as you said, went extremely well for him, and it also went well for a host of other male individual athletes. Here's your leaderboard after event 2. Lucas Hogberg, first place, smoked at 10 minutes and 7 seconds. Matt Fraser jumped himself, had a great finish on event 2, and then Easy Muhammad, after a less than ideal finish on the beach, really needed that third place finish. And then rounding out your top 12 is just a variety of various countries from around the world. I love to see that happening. Caity, you witnessed this event back in 2010. What are your thoughts from watching tonight's event?
Lucas Hogberg was moving. He was very efficient, carrying the sandbags, moved with a purpose. I had the opportunity to go over to Europe and see him in the regional, and he just likes to get work done. And I think for him, he was, like I talked about with Chad McKay earlier, a taller athlete, stronger athlete, did a very good job of just moving quickly with these sandbags.
Now, Tommy, you had some picks, but that's what we pay you to do. How did it shake out?
Well, Pat, I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm going to eat my words here. I thought Ben Smith would do extremely well at this event, given that he had done it before, but I couldn't have been more wrong. Unfortunately for Ben, he had a very uncharacteristic performance and really struggled. He actually got time capped in the event. I couldn't believe my eyes, primarily because he hasn't been time capped in a Games event since 2010, when he was a spry 20-year-old making his second appearance. But I think he should be fine there. We look at some of the programming ahead. He loves the heavy barbell. He's going to do great in the snatch. He's going to do great in the clean and jerk ladder. And I think we have that soccer chipper coming up, and I think he's going to really be able to showcase the mixture of gymnastics skills that's made him so successful in this sport.
Whole lot of competition still remaining. 2 events down, and on the male side of the house, the leaderboard shakes out like this. Yana Koski in first place, who I must admit I heard a lot of chatter about him. People won't be surprised if he's in the top 3 or 5 at the end of the week. Chad McKay, Matt Fraser, Lucas Hogberg, and Con Porter round out the top 5. Day 1 down for the men. What do you expect moving forward?
Well, I think we thought Chad McKay would do well in the swim, and I picked him to win the sandbag event. Still did very well with the 4th place finish. He's tied for 2nd right now, but I don't think at the end of the weekend that he's going to be up there, but I think he's had a very good start to this Games.
Expect a whole lot more of Matt Fraser. I think this finish was really just indicative of how good he is at this whole fitness ordeal that we got going on. We have 2 events that are outside of the box, a swim and then a sandbag awkward carry throughout the entire arena. And, after both of those events, he's in 3rd place overall with some heavy barbells coming your way. Man, I mean, he's looking like he could really take the whole thing.
Yeah, there could be some shifting of the leaderboard, but it might be him shifting closer to number 1. The women also tackled the sandbag event today, and the winner by far was Anna Tunnicliffe, blazing time of 8 minutes and 30 seconds. Emily Abbott and Cara Webb, the fantastic rookie Sarah Sigmundsdottir in 4th place, and then Margot Alvarez in the 5th spot, and then you have a couple former champions rounding out your top 12. Now, Caity, we watched this event, and Tunnicliffe just leapt off the page at us.
Yeah, just went out blazing speed, 8 minutes and 30 seconds. Are you kidding me? Like, I think, everyone thought she would do well this morning, but to come into the tennis stadium tonight and have this type of finish, it was blazing hot out there. Just to be able to go out there and do work, amazing finish for her.
And then somebody that we didn't have our eye on kicked it as well.
Yeah, but someone we should have had our eye on. It was Emily Abbott. She took 2nd place overall in this event, and even afterwards in the post-game interview, she said that she really likes this grunt-type work, and it shouldn't be a surprise, really, because if you look at her performance last year at the Games, her 2 best finishes were in the sprint carry, which is very similar to this odd object kind of sprint carrying heavy loads, and then the sprint sled, which she actually won. She finished 1st overall. She won an event in her rookie season. She mentioned that she spent some time working on a ranch, so she's familiar with this. I have personal experience with that. I spent the larger part of a decade growing up working on a ranch, and this is the exact type of work you do on a day-to-day basis, that kind of mind-numbing, just kind of grunt work where you turn your brain off and just keep going, and she showed how good she is at it.
Back when you used to do an honest day's work, right? Now we get you just talking. The women finished the sandbag event, and with day 1 down, your leaderboard shakes out like this. In 1st place, Cara Webb, potentially answering the questions, is she back for good? Tunnicliffe in 2nd place, Sarah Sigmundsdottir, that rookie, it might be tough to shake her out of the top 3. China Cho, Sam Briggs, Annie Thorsdottir finishing out the top 6. Now, some of those things aren't surprises, right? I mean, Cara Webb, we expected her to do well, but there are some shocking numbers of who we didn't see on that leaderboard right there, starting with somebody that last year when we stood at this desk, you were talking about a lot, the former champ, Camille.
And that was last year, and she is the reigning champ. Time has gone by. But I do think, we talked about before, some of the shorter athletes were going to have some issues getting the sandbags up and over the wall, and Camille really struggled with this, and she started to get frustrated with herself because the bags weren't going over the wall as easily as she would like them. But, I would never count Camille out. I would never count a champ out. I think she's going to be just fine coming into Friday, but definitely struggled in that event.
She gave herself quite a hole to dig out of, and so did someone else that us and the entire community thought by the end of day 1 maybe would be somewhere in the top 5.
Yeah, and it's an athlete we've talked about a bunch on the show, in Emily Bridgers. I mean, she was 6th last year, but 14th to start the day is exactly what she did at the water event last year. But in the sandbag event, she was the only athlete to take 2 trips across the floor with her wheelbarrow to get those sandbags, and I'm sure it was a strategy she practiced in the back that she thought was good for her, but when she came out onto the floor, it just simply didn't work. And really, I'm not too worried, though, because she does have Murph coming on Friday, and I expect her to destroy that workout. She may not be the first athlete off the run, but when she gets to the bodyweight stuff, she's going to make up some ground there, so I think she'll be able to kind of jump up the leaderboard after that.
Now, with a 22nd finish from Camille and a 23rd from Emily, I'm going to assume everyone at home is thinking the same thing that I am, and that's, what are the chances that these women could claw their way back onto the podium? Well, we crunched the numbers for you. We took from 2012 to 2014, where you placed at the end of day 1, and then statistically your chances of making it back, and both those women fall into that 3rd column, the 21 to 30th, so they only have a 2% chance of actually making it back. I mean, if they watch the show and they see that graphic,
they're thinking there is a chance.
Yeah, okay, I was gonna say, how do they move forward from here?
I mean, it's tough. I mean, we look at the workouts today. They're 2 very outside-of-the-box CrossFit type workouts, but really, we're getting back to some of the more classic stuff, some of the heavy lifts, some of the gymnastics movements, and Friday starts with an absolute classic CrossFit workout, so I think it'll be a good opportunity for them to kind of jump back up.
Yeah, and even though it's a small percentage, it's going to make for an exciting event. They're going to try and claw their way back to the top. I would expect nothing less from either one of them, so I think it's going to make it exciting for the weekend.
Day 1 ended for the individuals and also for the teams as well, and after the first day of competition, the leaderboard shook out like this. CrossFit Solid in 1st place, but not by much, just 18 little points over CrossFit Athletic. CrossFit Schwartz CrossFit Melbourne in 3rd, Fort Vancouver in 4th, and Fabriken in 5th. Now, when we look down the leaderboard there, I do see Ute, I do see Invictus, but I don't see some of those mega power teams, at least not at the end of day one, occupying one of the top spots. And Tommy, I know you were chatting up Ute a lot leading up to this.
And for good reason. And after day one, I'm pretty stoked at how they finished overall. They're 8th after 2 events. They're really only 6 points total behind 3rd place, so they're right within striking distance to the podium. And I think that they're in really good shape heading into the weekend, primarily because of the programming ahead. For them, they have the Earthworm coming up. That's running and squats, and they showcased how well they can run in the afternoon event today. Then you got the Synchros, which is an evolution of a regionals event, which you just happened to win at their regionals and have the 4th best time overall in the world, despite going in week number 1. And then you have the Max Clean and Jerk, and if there's one thing that stands out about this U team in particular, it's how big their men are. They're some heavy hitters. They're going to look like some silverback gorillas out there just tossing around a barbell, and I think they're going to put themselves back up into contention to win.
Now, Caity, that's a lot of fancy talk for a team that's not leading.
That is a lot. You are correct. But I think, you have CrossFit Solid and CrossFit Athletic, and they're on top of the leaderboard. And Athletic won the swim event last year, but it's not often that I agree with Tommy, but I am going to agree with him that I think once they get back into the stadium and once they get back into the tennis court and they start moving some weight and they start getting into the workouts you were talking about, I think you're going to have Invictus and Mayhem, Ute, and NorCal. And I think it's going to be a battle royale like we talked about this morning.
We see it happen every year, right? Day one is not necessarily indicative of what will happen as the competition just continues to evolve. So day one down for individuals and teams, but today was actually the end of the 2nd day of competition for the teenagers and the masters, and we saw some battles taking place, and it warms my heart because I must admit next month I'm going to join the ranks of the masters. I will turn 40 years old, so I'd love to see what they're capable of. And specifically in the 45 to 49-year-old division, we were just wowed by Caity Massey.
Yeah, Caity Massey in the 45 to 49 division is in 1st place after 2 days, and really ahead of who we thought would be the favorite, Chris Perrins. She's done so by winning 3 of the 5 events. Her other 2 finishes are 2nd place. She's the only woman in her division to finish that event 1 chipper, and then to finish today out, she wins double hanger by over a minute. Looking at tomorrow, she's got a 50-point lead over Chris Perrins, a former Games Teams athlete. And I think absent of anything catastrophic, knock on wood, I think we're looking at the champion in that division in Caity Massey.
And now we knock out a few more birthdays. We push forward a little bit. We get into the 55 to 59-year-old division, and all day long it was just Will Powell.
It has been Will Powell, but you go back to last year, he was in the 50 to 54 division, and he was the champion there. Moves to the new division and is cleaning up here this week as well. He's had 4 first-place finish and 1 second. And in the second, he still had a 220-pound thruster. So just a beast out there. And like Kylie, I think he's going to go in sitting pretty to win this again.
Did you see Will Powell with his shirt up? What does this guy have going on? He's absolutely out of control. For God's sakes, track him down, figure out what he's doing. That's the guy I want to be when I'm a little bit older. Now let's take it to the opposite end of the spectrum, the teenagers. And the performance that we saw in the 14 to 15-year-old division by Sydney Sullivan was incredible.
I'm going to go ahead and say it, Pat. She's turning in the most dominant performance we've ever seen at the CrossFit Games, any division considered. 5 events so far, 5 first-place finishes. At 15 years young, at 135 pounds, she does a 150-pound thruster. That's 15 pounds over her body weight. She finished the event for chipper 4 minutes ahead of the next closest competitor. She finished,
comfortable,
shook it off, walked around a little bit and thought, I got some time, I can go cheer on my competitors. I think we're really seeing a star in the making here, and I think we could see her one of these days competing as an individual at the CrossFit Games.
And selfishly, for our job, I was really looking forward to seeing the teams because they are the future. We start to almost cherry pick, wow, look at this person, and we will definitely have our eye on her. She was so incredible that we wanted to take her strength numbers on that thruster and compare them to some very well-known CrossFitters, specifically former champions. And look at this. I mean, at 15 years old, she's matching Camille at 22 and just a bit behind Briggs.
Just amazing. I mean, just imagine her in a few years. We're going to see her out here on the main stage.
Yeah, the 2 fittest women on earth the last 2 years, and she's got 7 years on Camille, 14 years on Sam when they were hitting those same numbers. The sky's the limit for an athlete like this.
Day one of competition down for the teams and the individuals, but specifically for individuals, what are you walking away with?
Man, I'm just walking away with excitement because on Friday, these athletes get a rest the day before on Thursday, and they're coming in and they're hitting one of my favorite workouts, period, and that's Murph. It's a notorious workout for various reasons. It's a hero workout. People do it every Memorial Day, and now we get to see it on the biggest stage. We get to honor it with the best athletes around, the fittest on earth. I'm just excited to see what they're capable of, really.
And I'm really excited to see, we have a really top heated women's race, but with the men, how are these rookies, how are they going to go home and for the rest day tomorrow, take care of themselves and come back here on Friday ready to rock? Because you don't have the Rich Froning, you don't have Jason Khalipa, and who's going to take the cake this year?
And we want to know what some of those people are up to, right? So luckily for all of you at home, we've been stalking Rich Froning for quite some time with one of our top video producers, Heber Cannon, and he has produced an incredible documentary. He is without a doubt the fittest man in history.
We need to see a snapshot of his physical capabilities against as many possible physical challenges as you can dream up and against as many people as you can possibly put him against.
There's no way to describe it. I mean, he's just driven.
Anybody is beatable on any given day.
That's the type of heart that's going to take down Rich. If you don't have that, you're not taking down Rich.
He's never been in this position. He's never had a score like this. So
at that point, I'd honestly thought my chances to win the CrossFit Games were over.
He is stupid competitive.
This good. You really aren't threatened by anything.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm now joined at the desk by Rich Froning, 4-time CrossFit Games champion, and your full-time stalker, Heber Cannon.
My new best friend. My new best friend.
Best friend forced on you.
Friends.
Yep. We're the director and producer of the documentary, and is it safe to say I heard you hadn't seen the movie?
I don't want to see it more than once because then it's just weird.
Has seen that kind of stuff? I mean, you're in front of a lot of cameras that make you uncomfortable when you have to watch yourself previously on an event or in a video?
Yeah, an event's a little bit different because then you can kind of critique stuff, but when it's like personal interviews and stuff like that, it gets a little creepy.
Now, one of the clips that we saw at home there was you actually diving on pavement, and what's the story behind that? Why would one do that?
Short on brain cells probably would be the first thing, but in high school, in Tennessee it gets a little wet in the spring, so we had to practice on asphalt, and I wanted to catch the ball, so I dove on pavement more than once.
And developed a little bit of reputation even as a younger man. So Heber Cannon, the director and producer of the video, followed you around for a bit. And was this your first exposure of working with Heber?
No, I've known Heber for a while now, but now we're best buds now. Heber knows more about me than I know about me.
So Heber, was there some good stuff that you didn't put into the documentary? Did you have to run some of the more racy stuff by him?
Yeah, we everything that was super personal, I wanted to make sure that Rich approved of. It's definitely a personal look into his life. There was nothing racy that needed to be cut from the movie.
No nudity.
But there was I don't know that there wasn't any nudity.
Oh yeah, there might be actually.
But
Heber was everywhere.
What's it rated?
It's unrated at this point. But we wanted to have. At one point, we had a 4-hour version of the movie, and we had to strip it down to 90 minutes to make it a little bit more digestible for the viewers at home.
And how long did you actually follow him around for?
Well, there's footage from when I first met Rich in 2010 at the CrossFit Games through April during the Open this last year. But the main production time was from February of 2014 through that July.
What was the experience like from your part? I mean, maybe you're used to having a camera guy follow you around, talk to you after an event, so on and so forth, but not really following you into your hotel room.
Yeah, but Heber does a good job of, you're really just talking to Heber. You're not talking to the camera. Don't even think the camera's there. We're just trying to be ourselves, and Heber fits in with our crew just fine. So it was a lot of fun, actually. Just having him hang out. We had a good time.
And the documentary covers a lot in the period, everything from the Open to regionals to games to you getting your 4th championship to even adopting.
Yep.
How you're used to the sports side being covered, but how are the more personal aspects? Letting him in, seeing the baby and all that. What's opening that part of your world like?
Well, like I said, Heber, it's not like he's another camera guy. He's part of the family. Even Mike and who was with us, they're part of the crew, and so we had a good time. There was not at any point was I like, Heber, you can't film this. I don't think there was any really of that.
Hillary maybe, but you.
yeah, right. But no, we had a good time with it, and I'm excited to see it. I've not seen it yet.
So is it safe to say that you're doing the team competition this year? You thought it'd be more fun than the individual side of the house? You were ready for a bit of a break?
Yeah, I'm having a good time. It's
Is it panning out that way?
Yeah. We had a great time today. We didn't have the best events today for us. We did better than I expected on the first one especially, and then did exactly what I thought we were going to do on the run. So we're sitting where we need to be, having fun.
Is there any chance whatsoever that you return to individual competition?
No. I've got a new goal. The new goal is to win an affiliate cup.
Oh, nice. All right, then have it on both sides of the house. I like that.
Yep.
Now, Heber, you've had unfettered access to the 4-time champion, more so than anyone else. What did you actually learn from the experience?
Man, I learned a lot. Rich is a very dedicated individual, and driven is the word that comes to mind when I asked anybody what's Rich like. The word driven came out, and I think that's something anyone could take home and apply to their own lives. Is motivating to try to be more motivated in your life to accomplish things that you want to accomplish. And Rich does a very good job of that.
Driven, stubborn. Same thing.
I mean, two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, same thing.
Now, for all the crazy CrossFitters at home that want to see this film, how do they do it?
Right now, if you watch the trailer we just played, it will be available for rent or download in September.
Okay.
We have yet to announce where that will be, but that news will come soon.
In true CrossFit fashion, the unknown and the unknowable. These surprises will just unfold. Well,
so September.
Okay, we look forward to seeing it. I haven't seen it either, so we'll both see it.
Perfect.
Give you a full debrief on how it is. Best of luck moving forward in the team competition. And for the Day at the Games show, tomorrow we will be back at 5 p.m. We will talk masters and teenagers. I will not have these two fine gentlemen next to me. I'll be replaced by another champ, 2008, Caity Henniger and Tommy Marquez. 5 p.m. right here. Don't miss it.